Hi everyone, this is Christy with the Element Bath and Body here in Dallas. In today's video, we are going to cover something that has affected us all, no doubt, and that is the combination of inflation and shrinkflation. So we are seeing more of our money going out of the door, but we're getting less and less coming back in for that same money. So it begs the question as a maker, should I raise my soap prices or product prices in general? We will be updating the Excel soap recipe cost calculator in this video, and I'm going to jump right into it. Really quickly, before we go any further in the video, I do want to show you a new feature that I've added to the soap recipe calculator worksheet. It now has a percentage column. If you're like me, I work my recipes in percentages. That way it's easy to scale them up or down as needed for whatever batch size I need for filling orders. This works the same way as the pricing formulas that are in this worksheet. When you change the amount over here, it will automatically update, and it will automatically update the pricing based on those changes. So let's say I want to increase olive oil to 30%. It is going to automatically update here for the amount of olive oil I need per batch, and then the cost. And now we're at 102. I need to take it down to 100. So I'm going to take 2% away from the coconut oil and take it down to 17%. Again, it will update here and here. So that's what's new on this file. If you have previously purchased this file from me on Etsy, feel free to reach out to me and you can get a copy of the updated file. All right, back to the regular video. This is the same recipe that we used in the previous video about learning how to calculate your costs. I will link that video up here. And the only thing that has changed is I changed the color scheme a little bit. I want to start off by saying I am not an Excel expert. I am not presenting myself to be one, and I am not very good at organizing, so I will apologize if the way this material is presented is a little overwhelming, but for whatever reason, this is how my brain sees it and it makes sense for me. So we are going to update the prices in our soap recipe. I may or may not update all of these on this video. I don't want it to take too long, but I just want you to see how the price will change. So just keep that in mind. $13.42 was last year's price for this 15 bar batch for this particular recipe. Unpackaged and naked, it was costing me about 15 cents per ounce, and that came out to about 75 cents per bar. My bars are 5 ounces each, so that's where we get the 75 cents per bar naked. Wrapped, it's about 87 cents per bar. Now, how much is olive oil this year compared to last year? Last year I was getting a 3-liter jug from Sam's, which came out to about 101 fluid ounces. It was $11.99. The cost for it now, I like Walmart and Sam's. They do break it down for you per fluid ounce or per ounce if you're buying certain things. Every website doesn't do that, so that's why it's important to have this worksheet. So it's $15.48 for that same 3 liters. So $15.48, and then when I hit enter, just watch your costs right here, and we'll come down and see the per ounce. So enter, and it jumps up to 16 cents per ounce. All right, coconut oil. I was getting that from Big Lots. I buy it in 102 ounce jugs, tubs, whatever you want to call them. It was also $11.99 last year. Now let's go to Big Lots. Ooh, coconut oil. And so this is the one that I buy. It's 102 ounces and it has gone up to $14.99. And when I hit enter, this will automatically update. Palm oil is $17.50. I have checked with that supplier, one of my local suppliers. That price has not changed for them, so I don't have to worry about that. Castor oil, that price also has not changed. That is from a local supplier. If you don't have the benefit of having a local supplier and you have to spend that money for ordering online and shipping, please remember to include the shipping cost in your calculations. It doesn't do you any good to say, oh, I'm paying $24.95, but if you're paying an extra $6 in shipping, you're actually paying $30, $31 if you round it up. So you need to calculate that shipping cost as well. That is the biggest benefit that I and my business experience by being so close to a couple of local suppliers, soap and candle suppliers. I don't have to order a lot of things, which means I don't pay a lot of shipping unless it's something that they absolutely just don't carry. All right, so lye, same thing. Same supplier, they have not changed their price on the lye. The distilled water I was getting from Walmart or anyone else, it was 99 cents. It has gone up slightly. We need to account for that, even if it's 10 cents, which it was 9 cents. So we need to account for that. It is now 108 because that affects our recipe. Nothing. But over time, it adds up. All right, coconut milk, that price, oh, has gone up. It was 150. I did make that change. At Big Lots, it was 150 last year. It's 179 this year. Fragrance oil has been about the same for my local supplier. Sugar, I am not sure. For the sugar that we get from Sam's, it is $5.48 for a 10-pound bag. And that breaks down to 55 cents per pound. So I'm going to use this calculation in my worksheets. So we'll put the pound, which is 16 ounces, and then the cost is 55 cents per pound. So we go back to the soap recipe. So sugar, we are doing 16 ounces at 55 cents. And it doesn't change the total that we had before. Kale and clay, I still get from my local supplier. It is the same amount or same price for that same amount. Salt has not changed, or has it? I normally get salt in smaller amounts because I don't use very much of it. So I get salt from Walmart or the dollar store, but you actually end up spending more at the dollar store sometimes. So for this, we get 26 ounces of salt for 54 cents. So 26 ounces, 54 cents. Go back to our soap recipe. 26 ounces, it has gone up a little bit. 54 cents. It still doesn't change overall the total for this batch of this size. All right, so we are at $14.65 and we have gone up to 17 cents per ounce for the bar of soap versus 15 cents. So you see how that makes a difference, and it's not a huge difference again because most of these supplies are coming from my local supplier. I do not have to order or get them shipped in. And fortunately, my local supplier has not changed their prices by very much. So that has not affected my bottom line. But if yours has changed, you will have to calculate or determine what you need to revisit in order to make sure that you're being profitable. I did change these numbers here. This was at 2, this was 2.75. This is still at 4, which is typical for retail. I don't charge that low of a price, but you get the picture. These are just suggested prices. You still have to look at the value perception of your brand. That is the update on the prices for my personal price changes. Again, your prices may be different based on where you live, based on what access you may have or may not have to suppliers. If you are, so remember, if you are ordering things and paying shipping and all of that stuff, you need to calculate all of those expenses into your per ounce costs so that you can accurately get a picture of what it is costing you to make that product. And big side note, this pricing sheet does not include overhead expenses. I won't go into that on any of these videos. Based on the changes that were made to my particular pricing, since I didn't have much of a change, it only went up by a very little. I actually don't need to raise the price for this particular recipe. My recipe that has lots of sunflower oil, I will have to change because the price for sunflower oil has almost doubled for me locally, even with local suppliers. So you have to take all of those things into consideration. And if you price your products with a good enough margin, you can, those prices can fluctuate and it really won't affect your bottom line as much as if you are pricing yourself too low. I would never price my retail bar at $4 or under $4. My bars typically retail anywhere between $5 to $9. 5 for the unscented and the ones with lower cost fragrance oils, $9 for the ones with luxury botanical additives and or really expensive essential oil blends. So my margins are enough that this fluctuation will not break the bank for me. So that's where you have to look at your pricing. Are you charging enough starting out of the gate so that when you have this inflation combined with shrinkflation, you can still float your way through without having to change your prices too much? All right, so we have gone over the situation where we don't have to change the price because my cost per ounce only went up by 2 cents per ounce. So I don't have to pass that cost on to my customers. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to show you where I may have to look at adjusting my price. So let's say instead of palm oil, I am at sunflower oil actually. Um, So the recipe that I use sunflower oil in does use sunflower oil, coconut oil, olive oil, and castor oil. So, but the percentages are closer to the way this is. So let's update that. We're going to say, I cannot spell sunflower oil. Sunflower oil, we'll say that, and we'll say olive oil here. So I'm just going to put these numbers down here. Olive oil is 101 at 15.48. Sunflower oil used to be 48 ounces at $4.76. So that would be my cost, $13.59 and 15 cents an ounce. If I was using those same percentages, it's a little bit different than that though. I can't remember the exact percentages. Right now, as it stands, if we go to the Walmart website for sunflower oil, you will see their brand, which says 48 fluid ounces for $6.74. I'm not going to use this calculation because of the trouble that I've had trying to find this actual sunflower oil. I'm going to put the price of what I had to buy while my local supplier was out of sunflower oil. I ended up having to get this brand in store because I needed something that was on hand, readily available really quickly so that I can get an order made. So this was the La Tourangelle organic sunflower oil. It's $8.98 for a 40-ounce bottle. So now you will get to see how that affects my bottom line. We're at 15 cents per ounce. And so we have a 40-ounce bottle at how much? $8.98. And then that takes me up to 19 cents per ounce. So that made a difference in the sense of those 4 pennies add up when you're talking about scaling up to, you know, dozens of bars at a time. If I don't pass that cost along to my customer, I am taking less and less profit. It doesn't affect me by much, but you start to feel it because now it's costing me $16.50 instead of $13.50 or $14.50. So that adds up when you're talking about scaling up into multiple batches, making hundreds of bars per order. That's where you start to have to pass along some of those costs to your customers because you will price yourself out of business. You do not have to feel bad about changing your prices. You don't have to announce it. You can as a courtesy if that's what you choose to do. Your favorite stores do not announce a change in prices for the most part. And when you go, you just pay whatever is extra if you really want that product. So the same thing happens with your products. If it gets to a point where the inflation has affected you so much that you need to pass on that expense to your customer, if you need to increase by 50 cents or a dollar, or maybe even $2, as long as your product has a perceived value within your market that will justify or validate that increase, your market, meaning your customer base, will also support that increase by continuing to purchase from you. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will answer them as best as I can. I will see you on the other side. Peace.